I will let you answer it. Okay. Hi. We're going to go to the very first question, which is, which 3 sections are the most looked at by recruiters, employers? What are they looking for in those sections? Any keywords or other types of information that are must-haves? Who would like to go first?
Yeah, so I can go first, and you guys may have different opinions on like what your favorite sections are, but I know when I'm hiring, the first thing that I see is right under your name, your really important. As you're being active, that's what people see first. And it's going to let me know if I want to click on your name or not. And your about section, your summary, I think is really, really important. And then also your skills section is really important that that's up to date. Those top 3 are what people see first, but definitely go in and put in all of your skills that seem really applicable to the jobs that you have, and clean out those ones that you don't want to be doing anymore. So many people have things that are listed on their skills that, like, I know I used to work in, when I was a kid, in a grocery store, and I had my cheese certificate and all of my like cheese information when I was 18. Nobody cared. It had nothing to do with the job that's out. But, so clean that up. I think it's important to dust that up.
I love that.
Yeah, we were talking about that in our last little circle. It's not like illegal. You're not under oath to like exhaustively list everything that you've ever done. You can tailor it to what you want to be doing. I would add to that, Noelle, like headline everything and your profile picture. Like when recruiters are looking and they search for like, who can do a React, it has a skill, they see your face, your picture on there. So make sure like you can actually see your face. I know like we try like everybody loves action shots of you on the mountain, but if your face is like this big because you're on the mountain, like there's something about like, especially now that everything's digital, right? They're not going to have a chance to have you on site. Eye contact is like a human need. So like if you can't see your eyes in your profile picture, there's a problem. Or if you look like a serial killer, like I had a student who just graduated and was like, what is this picture? Because he's like a handsome young guy. I'm like, this picture makes you look like a serial killer. He had like this weird, like a really intense face. Like, it's not working for you, man. Like, let's switch that up.
Isn't that the point? Is like, LinkedIn to me is more important than your website. It's more important than your resume, your CV. It is literally the universe's way of seeing your personality, your skill set, right? And so to me, this comes from my mother, who is a grammar queen. She looked at my LinkedIn and she goes, if your experiences are not in parallel grammar form, I'm going to lose my mind. And I've heard that from recruiters. So under the experiences section, obviously you need to say what you did. It's just like a resume. You need action verbs. Did you create? Did you build? Did you analyze? Did you manage? And it doesn't matter if it's bullets or if it's paragraphs, but like, please don't mix and match. Right? Like give them a streamlined experience. So like parallel grammar structure and skills is huge. And I think one of the most underutilized parts of your LinkedIn page is the featured section. So this is where you can add links to webinars that you've been on, talks that you've given, right? If the whole point of the entire job market is to stand out, and especially in tech to say, hey, I'm a thought leader. Guess what? Thought leadership on LinkedIn can be like, I was quoted in this one article and it was brilliant. So I'm putting it in my featured pane, right? Like those, to me, those are the 2 most critical pieces.
I love that. Can I go back quickly to the picture piece? Because on the diversity inclusion side of the work that we do, we talk a lot about, asking employers to do like blind resume reviews. And there's actually a tool that people can use to actually hide images. And I do know that there's definitely a lot of people that choose to not put an image at all on there because they don't want to have their identity revealed. They want it to be just skills based. I'm curious, like like, how do you deal with that? Again, it's sort of like, I feel like I keep getting you on this, Devon, because I did this before with the bias on the other stuff in the first webinar, but like, how do you deal with the realities of bias versus like, just want to get that damn job, and the reality is people aren't going to be doing that level of work.
Right. I definitely want to put a photo on your resume, because that's like,
or even on LinkedIn.
Yeah, on LinkedIn, it's like, you know, if you go to Twitter and somebody just has the egg, like there's no credibility there. Like I need to see that there's a human being behind there. You're not a bot. You're not like some spammer or something. It's going to be hard. It's a hard sell without a photo there.
Yeah.
I think that's true, but I also, as a woman of color, completely understand that should I put my picture up? Should I not? Is this going to stop me from getting jobs? If that's what's going on at a company that you want to work for, it's something that I tell my clients all the time. So if you think that that's going to hold you back in any way, don't do it. I also have clients who feel like they want to filter their pictures because maybe if they looked a little bit lighter, they would be more likely to get a job. Please don't do that. If you can't come into a job being yourself, this is not a job that you want. And also, when you go and have the interview, they're gonna be like, well, who the heck are you? You know, when you're doing all of those extra things. So just be you're happy, you're most professional, whoever you are, like make sure that you represent yourself. But not having a picture at all is telling me that I don't know who you are. You could be anybody.
Great, thank you. I know it was kind of a hard question, so I really appreciate that. What is the best way to structure the about section if I'm no longer a student, but and also not currently employed? So that hard stage.
I think it's important to talk about your passions and your experience, and you can do that in the about section in a way that, again, shows what you stand for and what your results are. So it could just be you move it towards a summary, right? You know, woman in tech who is dedicated to building equitable platforms or something. I think there's actually an opportunity there to float to the top the most important parts of your experience as a whole, rather than just being like, my current title is da, 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 and that's all, that's who I am.
Does anyone else have anything to add?
I work with fresh grads a lot. Sorry, my dogs are going nuts right now.
Okay.
And it's part of being confident with like where you're going to. You know, if you are looking for a job as like a front-end developer and you just graduated, you need to call yourself a front-end developer because that's what you are now. Like saying that you're still a student is confusing to the recruiter. And so be confident, say like software developer, front-end developer with skills in XYZ. I have a background in ABC. These are some projects that I'm working on right now that I'm really passionate about. Like here's a capstone project that I did. Here's my link to my demo or whatnot. And because if you're not confident that you're that, then people are confused about like why you're applying for that role.
Right on.
I agree. And I would just tack on to that I think that your about section, especially when you're in between roles, if you can kind of tell a story a little bit, why are you interested in switching over to this industry if you're transitioning, or if you're a student, like why did you choose this field for you? And what have you learned and that you're looking to apply? What are you looking the most forward to in this position that you're starting to look for? So if you can tell a little bit more about yourself, that's going to let somebody who's trying to who's recruiting or a hiring manager a little bit more of your personality and what your motivation is, which I think is just good to know.
I think that's great. Great advice. All right, next question. And I find it very interesting. This is our third of 3 webinars. No one has any additional cues, but that's okay. We have like 5 more questions. So someone asked, if you have a robust profile with a lot of information, complete information, how important is it to regularly post on LinkedIn?
I think that regularly posting on LinkedIn is really important. no matter what, if you're looking for a job, if you're not looking for a job, I think that it just keeps you relevant. It keeps you known as the subject matter expert in whatever you're doing. And really, you don't have to spend a ton of time on it. There's about 600 million users on LinkedIn. A very tiny percentage of them are posting regularly. So what you're posting is getting seen. So if you spend 30 minutes a week on LinkedIn, I think that it really makes a difference.
Absolutely. It's a lot less punishing. It's not like Instagram where you need to be posting every day, or Twitter where you need to post like 3 to 5 times a day or something ridiculous to stay in people's feeds. I see LinkedIn posts come up of contacts from like weeks ago when I'm scrolling through my feed, just because I scroll through my feed a lot as a career coach. But in leaving meaningful comments, anytime that you comment on something, it will show up in the feeds of your connections and show your comment there. And that again is why like that headline is the primest real estate, because they see your name, they see your profile picture, and they see your headline. So you're talking about trying to stay top of mind in ways that aren't intrusive to people in your network. Posting, commenting on relevant things, making a LinkedIn article about your latest project. It doesn't take a lot to really stand out on LinkedIn. It's a quite friendly platform in terms of social media and the amount of energy you have to put into it to get a return.
And relatedly, someone had just asked, Lizzie asks, what would be your advice for posting, interacting on LinkedIn when you don't like writing content? People talk about how important it is to stay active, but that is a challenge.
Yeah. I don't think you need to be like creating content as much. I mean, if you have something that adds value, absolutely go for it. But even like, it's the craziest thing, like, because there's so few people who are active in that way on LinkedIn. I can even look at, like I follow Ariana Huffington, for example, like, but you'll see like they'll have like, thousands of reactions and like 25 comments. Yeah. So you make a comment, it doesn't need to be groundbreaking, like thought leadership. I take a quote from the article to prove that I read it, and they say, I like this part because XYZ, and all of a sudden, like I can watch like the views of my profile, like boom, they shoot way up because thousands of people are reacting to this and seeing my comment.
Ooh, so I'm so curious. Wait, I have a question related to that, but go ahead, Emma, please.
I was going to say the other low lift is using hashtags in LinkedIn because the algorithm picks it up more. So like an article of mine was trending in leadership, and I was like, lol, because I'm not Ariana Huffington. Right? I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing more hashtags than my responses. And again, it was just a reshare with a comment, and then that went, and I was like, you do you, LinkedIn. Thank you for elevating me. Yeah.
And what I'll add to that, which I think that's so smart with those hashtags, and I just learned that like maybe 6 months ago, and I was like, what? I think that because the content on LinkedIn, the newsfeed can be a little bit dry, you can share a post, share an article that's a little bit light, especially right now with everything that's going on. People are looking for some good news. I shared this in one of the chats that I was in earlier, but I shared a post about this young woman who made the surgical mask, but put made it clear in the front, so people who are deaf or hard of hearing, they could read lips. So I shared about it, and I was just like, this is so smart. And I think I got like 6,000 or 7,000 views on it. And that's not like content that I put up all the time, but it's aligned to my brand as somebody who's always championing women that are innovators. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't necessarily have to be like your whole life story or write an article or make a video. Sometimes it's just sharing an article that's going to make people happy, that's still aligned with who you are in your professional brand.
Right. Do you my question was that Devon made me think of is, do you get more juice from commenting on a popular post or sharing that post, do you think? I don't even know if anyone can answer that.
It partly depends on how many connections you have, right? And like whether they're the kinds of folks who will reshare it. I have like some of my friends are LinkedIn stalkers, and they will like reshare everything that I post. I don't know why, but I love them. And so that helps. But like if I only have like 100 connections and they're not super active, then commenting or like using hashtags that have a lot of followers are going to get a lot more views than just posting to your connections.
That's very smart. Thank you. All right, upvoted question. When would you suggest someone look into getting a career coach? Any steps you should take beforehand? I feel like coaches of all sorts have come out of nowhere. How do you pick the right one? There are some good people on this webinar to talk about that.
Okay, so I laughed at the part of like there seems to be coaches coming out of everywhere, and it's so true. Everyone is a coach. Everybody has a course. I totally get it. But I think that what you want to look for, well, first you can use LinkedIn Pro Finder, which is a super cool tool where you can find coaches there, and you can just say what you're looking for, and coaches can basically like bid on the job of you and just like say like, we're looking because of these reasons. So that's free for you to use. It's awesome. Also to become a LinkedIn Pro Finder career coach, you have to go through all these steps. So you're kind of like verified by LinkedIn standards, which is cool. But take a look at their profile, take a look at their website, take a look at their recommendations. What are people saying about them? And does their website look legitimate? Like just do your due diligence and, see what this person specializes in, because what me and Evan and Devon all do, like we have skill sets that are a little bit different from each other. So there's room for all of us. And you can find the person that's the best fit for your personality.
Yeah. I would add just like if you're hiring a contractor for your house, get at least like 3 conversations and consults in there, because your relationship and how you connect with a person is just as important, if not more so, than their qualifications and background, because you have to feel comfortable sharing what you're really thinking and feeling about things, and be able to put the mask down. So don't undercut that part.
For sure. Emma, do you have anything to add?
It starts with self-awareness. Like, you got to be really honest with yourself about what do I actually need?
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't know, which is totally fine because we are ourselves in our heads, right? Like, go to people who are closest to you. Be like, what are you seeing holding me back from either getting the job or starting my business? Because if you just go out there and you're like, hello, coach, where's my coach? You're like, you need some descriptions of what coach you need. Like with a consultant. Like, yeah.
That's so true. And like you can start working with somebody and start talking to them back and forth and realize that you don't like them that much. You don't have to keep going with them because you invested that little bit of time. I made that mistake when I was like young into being an entrepreneur, and I hired a coach and I kept working with her, and I'm like, I straight up don't like her. And I just like hanging on because I felt like I had to, and I didn't. I could have just left and not worry about being nice, which I think a lot of women struggle with, and just like, oh, this is actually not a good fit. And that's fine.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. I love this next question. What advice do you have for navigating LinkedIn when you know your current coworkers, employer are also on there, perhaps seeing your activity, connecting to recruiters, following competitors?
I think that's a really good question. And I get asked that a lot. I think that when you're looking for a new job, and that's when it gets asked the most, and it's like, well, if I start updating my LinkedIn, then everyone's going to think I'm looking for something new. You can say, I'm just looking to expand my network. I'm working on my network, and you can leave it there. And you can also say, and you should be too. You're not on LinkedIn. You're not like posting regularly. You're not like updating your stuff. You should be. It's really important if you want to move up in the world. It doesn't necessarily have to be, you don't have to give them your whole life story. I think that it's fine to be updating things pretty regularly, and you don't have to necessarily post you're looking for a job, but you can be a little bit more assertive with what you're doing on LinkedIn so that it helps you overall with your job search or whatever you're looking to get next out of the platform.
You can also really fine tune your control over like how things, like it used to be anytime you would change a sentence and it would just like make an announcement in the feed to everybody like, Devon changed her headline, Devon added a work experience. And you're like, man, that's like really in my business. But you can change that now so it's not like being broadcast to the world every time you edit a paragraph on your LinkedIn profile. So you can make all those edits, and only people who are going to your page are going to notice that.
Personally, I have guidelines of who I'm actually connecting with from my current company. So people get their own preferences for that. Like I have boundaries on Facebook that I'm not friends with current coworkers, no matter how much I love them. That's my own personal boundary I've drawn. On LinkedIn, I literally think, who would actually support me in my own career development and growth? And I make that conscious decision to connect with them. And then if there are people who aren't, I straight up don't connect with them on LinkedIn until one of us leaves. Those are my personal boundaries. And that has, for me, lessened the amount of time of worry that I'm thinking about these things. I'm like, well, they actually want me to go get something better. So they're going to be in full support, and I'll ask for a recommendation and give one back. Like it makes it more fluid, less stress.
Yeah.
That actually reminds me of another question that I had, which is, how do you, what do you think of people who just sort of like spray LinkedIn requests? And I think there's like two philosophies. I think I can feel for people, especially when they're like looking for jobs. They're just like, LinkedIn makes it really easy. Just connect. But that's not a meaningful connection. Like, what do you do for people who are like, I want to get a job and I don't want to connect with these people? Like, what's your advice for how they should connect with people that they don't know?
I would give it like a formula. Who are you? How do I know you? And what support do you need? Because if you've at least told me you're a human, this is how we are connected and what support you need. For me, that's the bridge.
Great.
Mm-hmm. I think don't bother with third connections unless you're applying to a job directly and you see that the person who posted it, like you may want to connect over with that person if they're a third. But don't really bother with third connections because they're people that you don't even know that know them. Make sure that you're nurturing that relationship. So making the connection is fine. I'm actually kind of okay with just connecting with somebody and not sending a message. I'm okay with it, but if you see them posting something and there's no comments, like comment on their stuff, share the things that they're working on, send them a message if you think that there's something that's relevant to them, and let them know about if she geeks out of that, whatever it is, like there may be
great idea.
Send people over links, stay connected and nurture those relationships. So it's not really, it's not just a connection, it's a relationship. So treat it like one, and give it the respect that it deserves, which takes like a little bit of time, but don't connect with people that you just want to bump up your numbers.
Nice. Right. Yeah, because if it really is just a numbers bump, then it's not going to be that helpful to you. I think one of the most powerful is that you can use it as a tool for when you were like, I want to work at this company. Let me go look out who their employees are on LinkedIn and who I have in my network that either works there or could connect me to somebody that works there. So I have that easier time of like getting an intro, having a warm connection, and setting up a coffee chat, with somebody that could potentially be a referral for me, because we know that really bumps up the visibility of our application. If I just have like 100 plus people in there, then I don't remember what our connection is because I never sent them a message. Then I can't really use that. I'm going to just be like, oh, Joe, something. I don't even have a point of entry to a message that I would send to that guy because I have no recollection. I feel like when you send a message along with your connection request, it stays in the message history. So it's actually helps you in the long run, so that like, even if it was like, oh, it's that person I met at a networking event a few months ago and we chatted about XYZ, that helps me so that when I'm like, oh, now I can see that she is an inroad to this company I'm really interested in. And I have that touch point, it's in our message history. It's gonna be like, hey, have you gone to that networking event lately? Like, what's going on? And I have a soft opening there instead of, hey, rando person, please help me.
Yeah, I love that. It's like you're using LinkedIn as a soft CRM.
Yeah,
that is brilliant.
Exactly.
It is, yeah, 100%. And I think also on the flip side, when you're getting a bunch of requests, and I get those all the time, you don't have to accept anybody that you don't get a message from. And if you're just like, like they're working in a role that I'm pretty interested in being connected with, take a look at their profile and like see that they have some good connections. Like I don't do a third party. I don't accept somebody that doesn't know somebody that I know. And just like be really diligent about it. Because what I'll get is a lot of guys who think that this is Tinder, and I don't have time for that. So just like be mindful of who you're connecting with.
Well, I don't get that, Noelle. Maybe my picture is better than that. But no, but I think it's a great point, and I can say for me it's the same thing. If someone connects with me that I don't know, I will at least expect a message, and I've actually put that note on my profile because some people will read it, some people won't. And I will do the same. It's very rare if I connect with someone who I haven't actually met before, but there is some reason. And I definitely write a note and being like, I just really like you and I think you're really cool and I would just like to connect with you because I think we have some similar whatever. And then if they reject me, I completely understand that. But I think you're so right. Thank you for answering that. So another question that came up is how much are recruiters looking at the recommendation section, do you think?
I look when I'm hiring or if I'm recruiting, it's something that I definitely look at, especially if I'm like weighing something between two people and I don't want to call a bunch of referrals. I can just take a look at their LinkedIn. And so to me, it weighs something. But then I also, if I'm looking at somebody that's in a leadership position, I may look to see if they've given any recommendations so I can see, the kind of leader that they are and the kind of compliments that they give and the things that they see in people that have worked under them or have worked along them in some way. I think that seeing that the way that they speak is really important.
Awesome. Does anybody else want to add? Shall I move on? No?
No, all
good. Nailed it. What's the best mindset to get in for getting hyped up about using LinkedIn when you become super jaded towards social media in general? That's a great question.
I love that.
I feel you on that. Like I regularly take Facebook vacations because I genuinely hate Facebook and I'm only on there because I run a business and I kind of have to be cross-platform, but it's exhausting. Again, this is but LinkedIn is like the place that'll go. Even when I delete like all my other social media apps, I'll keep my LinkedIn page because I feel like the feed is not jammed full of like rando ads, for creepy things that I was just looking at on Wayfair, like I bought a chair, leave me alone. And it tends to be like news, but it's not like super harsh news. I kind of like it. It's slow. It goes at like my slow pace. It's maybe a little dry, but it's also a lot less drama filled and anxious. Like there's not so much fear mongering on there as there are on a lot of other social media platforms. So give LinkedIn a try. You might love it.
That's great advice. Anybody else? Yeah.
I'll also add that with LinkedIn, like if you feel like you're jaded with social media, a lot of the time is because people aren't really presenting themselves for who they are. And like you're seeing like their whole family life, you're like, oh, that's not really true. Like this is like so much more professional. It's not really about that. And also, I mean, there's definitely people who won't go along with this, but it's not super duper political. Like there may be some articles that are out there, but it doesn't get like super nasty like it does on a lot of other platforms. Like people aren't going to want to go back and forth on that because their bosses are seeing it. So you're not going to want to like fly that flag that's super controversial that may stir up a lot of drama because, a potential person who may hire them may see it and it sticks around for a long time. Also, you don't really have to spend as much time on, like it's not as addictive, I think, as Facebook and Instagram and the other ones are. You can kind of go through your feed and do that for a little bit and then you're like, I'm good, I'm done. With Facebook, for some of us, like we're just like still going through it all the time. Like, let me just see that unit, it refreshes and you get all these like really good little bits. I get like what I need out of LinkedIn just in the little short times I spend on it a day. I don't feel like I have to be on it.
Yeah. And the other thing for mindset is I always start with my why. Like, why am I what do I want out of life? Why am I getting out of bed, right? Like, what is my why? And then shift it to, LinkedIn is a tool. Mm-hmm. It is a map for me to get to where I want to go. And you can do that for any social media, right? Like I decided my why for LinkedIn was to make a big career change. I was in nonprofit program management for years, and I was ready to pivot into tech. And I was like, I know my why. I want to build databases. I want to make these things automated. And I was like, oh, wait, LinkedIn is a tool where I can start talking to people in tech who are at the intersection of nonprofit and tech, where I don't know those people, right? So social media is a tool. It's a free tool that you get to use to really go after what you want.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like you can, if you're a business owner, it's easy to use some of the other social media sites to help you get more money. But like LinkedIn, I'm like when I'm using it in my career, I'm using it to like get that paper. Like I'm like here to like get more out of my career. I'm here to find a mentor. I'm here to find a sponsor or get on a board somewhere. Like I'm not here to just like play around. So because there's so much that you can get out of it, it makes it a little bit more fun to use because I just want to like, all right, well, like, let me see where I can get in. It's just a different feeling, I think, than social media overall. And I think even like the owner of LinkedIn said that he didn't want to see it as a social media site, even though it is. But he's like, please don't call it that. No, thank you.
It's not my identity.
I love it. Thank you. I love this next question from the lovely Missy Longshore.
Hey.
Is there a Mad Lib style guide to writing my about and headline section? Searching and looking at a variety of options. I read others and think they are so cheesy.
I have definitely Googled this before. I'm going to go try and find the guide that worked.
Also, if it doesn't exist, I think Missy should build it.
There you go.
No, you go ahead, Devon.
I know, like, I love shouting out people who create things that I wish I created. Austin L. Tack, BLCAZ.
Can I just take a minute to note that this is the benefit of doing this virtually versus on an actual stage? Because look, everyone can just Google the answer.
Give me the direct link. It's going to happen.
Yeah, so he has a site called Cultivated Culture, and he has a ton of things on there, including like little like Mad Lib style, LinkedIn things. So he does a lot of LinkedIn stuff and helping people optimize their LinkedIn profiles, and his articles are really spot on. So I'd recommend checking out his stuff.
That's awesome.
One of the things that I like to do when I'm doing a headline for a client is focusing on first, what do you do? It shouldn't just be your title. So like, what do you do? Who do you serve? And maybe like 1-2 skills that are like very specific to what you do. So if you are working in like sales and IT, you can say that you're like you're a business development specialist or like whatever sounds really good to you, where you that you work with IT companies that do this, and then like business development is really important or building relationships is important to you, or data storage is important to you, like whatever it is that's like very niche to you, having that in at the end of your headline I think is really helpful.
Love it. Okay, I'm going to do one more question here, and then I'm going to go back to some of the survey questions. What's the proper way to ask for an endorsement in a new field?
That's a really great question. I think it's just to ask. One way that you can do, if you want to be like kind of, you're like an introvert, you don't want to ask anybody or you don't like ask people for help, you can endorse somebody else on their skills. And whatever skills are listed as like your top skills, somebody may do it right back to you. But if there's like something that you want to see a lot of people get behind you, just send over a message over to colleagues who have seen you do well in that skill and say, hey, I'm working on my LinkedIn. Would you mind just sending me an endorsement? And I'll make sure to endorse you too on whatever you want to get endorsed. So people are always really willing to help. It costs them no time, and no one's like that you would ask is going to be like, oh, how dare she ask me that? It's totally fine.
Yeah, the one-on-one is so easy. And one other approach I've taken is actually getting a whole group together. So we did like a virtual lunch and learn, and we all literally went round robin. And I was like, I want everyone to endorse me on these 3 things. And then everyone clicked. And then we went to the next person. They're like, I want you to endorse me on these 3 things. And we all clicked so that within an hour, like everyone had another 10 new endorsements.
Yeah.
And
Perfect.
you just got to tell people also what endorsement you want.
What do you want? Yeah.
Tell me what you want. But again, like you get control over your own narrative, which is amazing. You get to choose what you want to present and where you're going. And yeah.
I love that. Thank you. Okay, one question I want to get from the survey is, what are some tips and tricks to get profiles to show up in more relevant recruiter searches?
So one of those is your skill endorsements, and it really is important to have endorsements for them. If you don't have endorsements, it's like they're invisible to the recruiter. They're not going to show up as your keywords. You know, and the same things that you use if you were like trying to get more views on a website and using SEO, the same thing works with LinkedIn algorithms for SEO. So like, you know, I work with a lot of software engineers. So like in their headline, they're saying like, you know, front-end developer, and they're putting their stack, you know, JavaScript, React, Node, like whatever their top 3 to 4 tech skills are. So that if somebody's looking for a JavaScript developer or a JavaScript engineer, it's going to come up for that skill. And it's in their skills, and they're endorsed, and they're talking about it in their about section. Like, this project that I worked on used this stack, so that like it has meaningful keyword value in there. And all of those things help to like bump you up in like what page of results are returned when that recruiter looks for, show me JavaScript engineers in the greater Boston engineering, and go.
Right on. Anybody else have anything to add?
No, that was perfect.
I agree. That was wonderful. Jessica has another great question. Is there any benefit to applying for a job through LinkedIn versus going just directly to the brand page and applying through there?
So I think that I don't think there's any harm in doing both. If it's something that you really, really want. I know that those applications are a lot because you have your resume and you're filling out the same information that was already on there. I know, we hate it, but it is helpful to do both if it's something that you really want to go for. But I think what's great with LinkedIn is that you can, you know, if the recruiter is using that tool, that's probably what they may be going to first. There may be one person that's looking at LinkedIn and another person that's looking at the website. So if they're posting on LinkedIn, that's probably where they're looking to get applications from. But then also going into the website as well, I think is fine. But I make sure to apply where they're doing it directly. Also, recruiters have to spend more on LinkedIn than they do on some other platforms like on Indeed or ZipRecruiter. So a company that's spending extra money there is like hoping to get the best results and the best candidates there. So I think that it would definitely behoove you to apply on LinkedIn if you see it on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and from the back end too, I remember when we posted through LinkedIn, we put easy apply because we were looking to hire quickly. So it's usually an indication that like, do it now, and they're looking at it like to Noelle's point, because the back end is very seamless from the recruiter side.
I will say with the easy apply, which I think is so brilliant and so helpful, if you're just like blanketly like applying to like a whole bunch of things with like the easy apply, make sure that you're writing down the jobs that you're applying for. Because what happens to my clients all the time, they'll apply to a job and then they'll get a call about the job interview, but they took off the job description off of LinkedIn, or they took it off of their website, and they said, I have no idea what this job is for, and I have an interview, and what do I do? So just like track the stuff that you're applying for, and it does happen like at least like 6 or 7 times to people that I've worked with. It's just good to just stay on to it so that you don't say, what's this? What is who?
Awkward. I love that. I'm gonna quickly. I just want to ask one of the survey questions. Someone asked if getting premium is worth it, especially if you don't have a lot of money and you're looking for a job. Does it make sense to get it?
So I'll say I started off last year with 350 connections. Now I have about 4,000, and I don't have LinkedIn Premium. So you don't have to have LinkedIn Premium to be able to grow your network. However, there is so many benefits to using LinkedIn Premium. If you're looking for a job, you get to the top of the list when you apply to jobs. You can see everybody that's looking at you, and you can send them over a little message and say, hi, saw you saw my profile. Just wanted to see what's going on with the jobs opportunities at your company. So there's definitely some benefits to it. So definitely try out the trial and just go hard on LinkedIn. But if you are short on cash and like you're choosing between like that and something that you really have to have, I think that you can do just fine without having premium.
Yeah. And to your point of like, go hard, Noelle, like when you sign up for the trial, have everything else lined up and ready to go. This is what I did. You turn on premium, you're like, duh, I got a month, let's go. And then the other nice thing is you are then kicked into their marketing and discount. They're like marketing automation journeys. So now all I get are options for another free month of premium. I'm like, great, we'll do the same blitz scenario. So sign up for it, then cancel it. Then they know you will only do it with a discount. Beat the tech.
Mm-hmm.
What is the blitz? What does the blitz look like? What's a 1 month premium blitz? I feel like that should be a blog post. 1 month
like, what are you doing with the month? It's like what Noelle just said. Yeah, it's the actual applying.
The research and the applying. Well, I thought you could apply.
You can always apply, but like it gives you more data on like what the other applicants are like and things like that.
And you can also directly message people that are not second connections. So if you are applying to jobs and you see the people that are on there, I think that I don't know if you can even send any at all if you don't have premium. Maybe you can do 1 or 2, but like you can do at least 10 when you have premium. So if you see that like an HR manager posted the job, you can message her directly. One thing that I think is really kind of cool to do when you're looking for a job, like it's your dream job, you can send them over a little video message and say like, hi, like I just applied to your job and here's and I sent over my resume. Just wanted to tell you that, I love this about your company. This is something really great that I do. Keep it like 30 to 60 seconds. But you can't do that if you don't have premium. So that's just like a little extra that you can do.
Thank you. Sorry. I'm sorry I didn't catch all the things in the first time around, Noelle. So
it's okay. I'm a fast walker.
No, it's great. I've got so much knowledge in my brain. Some of it's leaking out. So next question, is it better to have a streamlined profile for your role or have breadth that may speak to outside experience, especially if that's not the only industry you're applying to?
So I'll say that if you have different fields that you're interested in, I think that it's fine to have that on your skills section. But I think that you just need to I think it's important to be really clear on what you want. Like have an agenda when you're job searching and like spend a month saying like, I just want to look for these kind of roles and like just go hard on that. I think when things are just too open, people go like, well, what are you doing? So it just be like really clear. And if you feel like you're not really getting what you want out of that, or you're not really loving that direction, then switch it up to something else. But having your skills section be a little bit more broad, I don't think hurts anything. But you just want to, I wouldn't keep your whole profile completely open, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's less about breadth and more about balance, like especially if you're trying to go into leadership roles, right? Like to the earlier point, show your compassion somewhere on the page, like to see volunteer experience and to see board, like board engagement. What else are you doing as a human out in the world for good? Because yes, you need the technical skills and you want to be able to show how else you're valuable.
It's like anything else with marketing. You have to have some kind of focus. Otherwise, nobody understands what your brand is.
Mm-hmm. You can't be talking to everybody. You got to be like kind of specific. I had a period in my life where I wasn't sure if I wanted to be a Salesforce administrator or if I wanted to keep working in operations. But when everything was open, it was like, what do you want? Like, what is this thing? Because there's not a job where you can really do both. So if it is a position where having those other skills is like an added benefit. Like if you work in marketing and like and it's like very specifically looking into print marketing, but you also have social media skills, like you might work for a smaller company and those social media skills might actually come in handy even if it wasn't on a job description. So sometimes it's okay, but it can't be like completely opposite or it's just going to be really confusing.
Right on. Very popular question. Should I use a Word document instead of a PDF because of applicant tracking system? So it's not quite LinkedIn related, but it's still resume related.
I have strong feelings about this. So if you're sending somebody over a resume personally, like either through a messenger or an email, a PDF is fine. Some application tracking systems will take a PDF and mess it all up. ZipRecruiter, and I think there's a few other places are kind of notorious for doing it some of the time. So with that, you want to send over a Word document because it captures everything. With the PDFs, sometimes it'll take pieces of it and it'll look like a picture and it'll take all the text out. So you won't get, those keywords won't get seen, and then it'll go at the bottom of the pile. I've seen this. I would have almost missed out on a lot of applicants that got sent to another folder because they use a PDF as opposed to a Word document. But Word documents, sometimes they don't look as pretty as a PDF is. So when you're sending it to somebody directly, I think a PDF is great. But on a website or on any of these boards, I think that it's Word documents the way to go.
Awesome.
I think
anyone agree?
I think it also depends on like how you made the PDF too. So if it's like you made a PDF from your Google Doc, because that's the way that you could get it to download without it getting all funkitated. That's a technical term. Then it's still going to be readable. You know, it's like when you like, I love Canva. Everything. It makes me feel like I'm a graphic designer, even with no skills. And so you can make really beautiful looking resumes in Canva. They do not translate because you can't even like highlight the text in there. So like if you opened it in preview, you can't like copy the text because they're embedded as an image. And so those are great to have like on your portfolio site or to email somebody, but you definitely wouldn't want to upload that. And you can kind of tell like, because like in the ones that ask you like the follow-up questions, it tries to pull the info. So if you say that it's like all, or it has nothing, or it puts everything all in one, then you have an inkling that it's not reading it appropriately.
That was great when you said Canva resume. We all went like this. It was like a bobblehead moment. It was just like, that's what someone should come up with. Like it's like an Ask Genie, but it's a bobblehead for these questions, and you just hit it, and it gives all of us just like yes, no.
The newest emoji type thing right here. I love it. So I and this is probably my ignorance. Someone asked, what would be a good summary for LinkedIn and how different it needs to be from the resume? And just for me, I can't remember right now, is summary the same as the about in LinkedIn?
Yes.
Yeah, they mean the same thing.
Yeah, so I know you talked a little bit about that. I don't know if you want to, a couple other people want to know the answer, so please.
So I don't think that your LinkedIn should look exactly like your resume. First of all, your resume doesn't necessarily have to have an objection. So like that's like kind of like what the summary is, and it should be longer than what your objective statement is on a resume anyway, and a little bit more personal. But you're like with your work experiences, which is where a lot of people are talking about it, you really just want to highlight the things that you're applying for the most. Like tell me about some of your wins. And we do that a lot with your resume, but it doesn't need to be as long. You can keep it a little bit more brief, I think. And like Emma was saying before, it's like if you're gonna do like a paragraph, do a paragraph. Make it a short paragraph, but make it a paragraph. If you're gonna use bullets, but don't use dashes and bullets. And so it doesn't have to be a carbon copy of your resume at all, but it should be pretty well married into your resume. I should see the same person, basically.
Okay.
Right.
The other thing I'll add too is like, because I've gotten in this, like I get stuck, right? I don't know what to say. If you're not working with a coach, how do you get moved through that? And I pick my like gold star LinkedIn profiles, like, damn, I want my profile to look like that, right? Steal like an artist. Literally copy and paste it into a Word doc, print it out. You'd lie on your couch with a glass of wine, be like, oh yeah, that's me. Oh yeah, that's me. And then put it in your own voice. Like you don't have to, as someone said it earlier, you don't have to create the whole content. It's also a great book, Steal Like an Artist. If anyone suffers from analysis paralysis or perfectionism, it's like, oh yeah, I can just take those things and put my voice on it and we're good.
Yeah,
I mean the best blog post after this.
I think that's so true. It's the same with resumes. Like somebody has already written a resume of all the things. Like make sure that when you're searching for resumes that are in your role, that you're using things that are true to what you've actually done. Like don't lie, but if that like word structure made complete sense to you and that's exactly what you do, like, you know, I think that that's fine. Just use your own tone, and make sure that it sounds like you, but you don't have to invent a whole nother person. Like, there's people that do it, like this information is out there, use it. You don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Awesome. Go ahead, Devon, please.
I was just gonna say, like, your summary that might be on your resume tends to be more formal and like avoiding like first person pronouns and stuff, whereas your LinkedIn, because it is social, like, don't use third person on there. It's weird. It's like like Devon is an amazing whatever. It's a little bit strange. So do use first person and, like, you know, share your story, and you've got like 2,000 characters to play with there, so use them well. You have a lot more space than you do on your resume, and that's like prime real estate because it's above the fold.
It is. Perfect.
Great advice. And I know we're running low on time, so I'm going to do 2 more questions and then we'll move on. How does one differentiate the details and experience between the resume and LinkedIn profile? It's not a good idea to copy paste.
Why not?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think that it's fine to copy and paste. I think that maybe less bullets, depending on how many bullets you had, I think is fine. I think that keeping 4 to 5 is fine, and making sure that it's like the experience that you want to be the most well known for. But that should be what's on your resume anyway. So I think that it's completely fine.
Cool. And then, so what technology would matter more, JobScan or LinkedIn Premium? I actually don't even know what JobScan is. So
yeah, JobScan is cool.
What is JobScan?
So JobScan, you guys.
Nerding out. I love it.
I'm like, this is so good.
JobScan will take your resume and whatever job that you're applying for, and it's like a dummy application tracking system, and it'll take the two and they'll compare them, and it'll show like what are the keywords that you were missing out on, what is some information that a robot would see and think that there's something wrong with it, like what are some more things that you need to add into your resume that'll help you be at the top. So it'll show you like what percentage are you a match with this position, and it's not 100% right. Sometimes it'll miss things, and I'm like, I definitely did use that word, and maybe I used it in, maybe the tense I used was differently, but I did use that word, so it should be okay. But it definitely gives you like a nice idea of like, is this going to work or not? And I think you can do 10 free scans, which is pretty good. And I mean, I just think it's a pretty nice resource, but I don't think that was like the full question. I just got very excited.
I think it was either or.
Yeah, I don't know. Does JobScan cost?
Yes.
Right. So yeah, maybe I guess which one is more bang for your buck?
They're totally different tools. So it's like, what are you trying to accomplish?
Yeah. Fair.
And I think whatever you get the most that you can out of any free service that you can. So like JobScan, like I do like those 10, and then they'll always re-up it. I think right now, because of everything that's going on, they're letting us do more scans than is on the trial. But I've been using it for like maybe a year, and I haven't had to pay anything. So it just like keeps like re-upping. I'm trying to pay for these people. I'm telling you. I'll put that in the chat. JobScan.
Yeah, someone already did.
There. We're good.
It's already in there, and we'll put it in the show notes. So we just have a few minutes left. There's again, like the last session, there are so many questions. But I want to make sure that I give plenty of people time to have the small group conversations, and I have to do that awkward thing again, where I got to rename all the tables. Are there any final thoughts before we head on into the small group chats? Use LinkedIn. It's really important, and it really just
30 minutes a week. You can break that up into 5 minutes a day if you want to, but your comments really matter. This is the only place where you can just show people who you are as a subject matter expert without getting in front of like a group of people. Like you can just do this all online and people can see who you are and what you represent. And I think that not doing it is like taking a little bit of something away from you. You need to be on there. And there's also some companies, if you don't have your LinkedIn profile together, will think that you're not serious. So do it.
Yeah, and if you've been talking about building a personal brand and you're like, I'm not building a website, I'm not doing all this stuff, like, there you go, LinkedIn, go free, personal brand, trying it out.
Done.
Use hashtags because apparently not enough people know about it, so you better ride that wave and then be on some great article. You can know about it. Also, can I pull a Jewish mom moment and ask us for a photo so we can put this on the internet?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can.
Smiling, beautiful presenters and chatters, smile with us. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Thank you for that moment.
I did jazz hands.
Didn't make it.
Good. You know what? That's for the best. For the best. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you in the small groups. And this is really the last time that I will have an opportunity to actually say this. I just wanted, again, thanks so much to these incredible coaches, you for donating your time here, and to all of you for being a part of this wonderful virtual experiment, and to the kitty cat, Skylar.
She's here. She's here with us.
Yeah, just really thank you so much. And we will do this again because this is obviously so needed and important. And thank you for bearing with me while I tweet.